My name is Jason Cross. I'm Director of Family Services for the Little River Band of Odawa Indians. In April of 2014, I was a case manager for the department. And as a part of that job, I worked directly with families, children and families who were either working towards self-sufficiency or had entered into the child welfare system. I noticed at that time, I typically had three common themes of challenges for families. Was childcare, transportation, and housing. It just so happened at the same time, I attended a strategic planning meeting with Tribal Council, and on their strategic plan was to create some sort of a child center. They weren't sure exactly what it is that they wanted, how they wanted to look. So I floated the idea of a child care center in this building, which was the original casino for the tribe, and it sat unused for about 12 years. And it wasn't doing anything but collecting dust, and I thought a good opportunity to kind of use this building and fill a need in the community. At that time, there were no licensed child care facilities in Manistee County after 6 p.m. or on the weekends. In this county, we have several businesses that run at those times. The casino, we have Myers, we have a correctional facility, we have the hospital, we have several factories around Lake Manistee. They all do shift work. And a lot of those folks had no care for their child. There's a lot of child development and care funds from the state of Michigan that weren't being used, and they weren't being used in this county because there's nowhere to use them since you have to use them at a licensed facility. I remember specifically going out on a child welfare call with DHS to a home where a mother had left her 9-year-old and her 5-year-old alone so she could go to work. She had no other choice. It was either that or quit her job, but yet DHS wanted them to be working and moving forward, but there was nowhere for her to place her children from care when she was at work. I've also seen, at that time I saw people on Facebook asking, is there anyone who can watch my children? Which as a social worker is pretty scary because I know who are the people that would raise their hand and say, sure, bring them over. You never know what's in a home, drugs, weapons, anything. So we wanted to provide a facility, safe place for all children in this county, not just tribal children. This center is open to every child in the county or outside the county. We also have children here from Wexford, Mason, Benzie counties. I think we even have one from Grand Traverse County. If a parent's passing by here to work, they're more than welcome to bring their child here. We have partners that are in the county and who agree with the project and support the project, and those every grant we send in 13 letters of support. That's every school district in Manistee County, Manistee County Community Foundation, Launch Manistee, DHS, Central Wellness, which is our community mental health organization. We also have partners that are in this building now. Northwest Michigan Health Services runs a medical dental clinic in here, in this building. Manistee Child Advocacy Center has their offices in this building. We have the ISD comes in here often with their early on program. So they see children in our center. Community mental health continues to see children in our center individually. DHHS has come here and spent time here helping people get signed up for their programs. We have a generic office near the front door, which is kind of outside what I call the secure area, where any agency can use that office for the day if they need to help families of the center.
I've seen a lot of positive impact. We've had a lot of people come to us and just thank us for opening because, again, we're open 5:30 to midnight 7 days a week. There's not a lot of care on the weekends. So if a family works on the weekends, we're kind of one of their only options. We have families that work at the corrections facility here in town, and so they work holidays, they work weekends, they work evenings, they work early mornings. We're closed some of the major holidays, but otherwise snow days were open, school holidays were open. So I think it's really that accessibility, and they know that we take care. That's one of our top priority is safety and quality of care. And so not only are they getting the accessibility, but they're also getting the quality that they want for their children.
That was one of the mandates from Tribal Council, was that this be a self-sustaining project, that it wasn't something that we would have to budget for every year. Understandably, there's going to be a period of time where we need to get up and running where we're at now. So we ran lots of budget numbers and what we could charge per child, what we were paying per employee, where we needed to be. And if we're at about 70% occupancy, the center is self-sustained, self-sufficient. I think we've had Representative Vanderwall in the building, and he was very receptive. He came here at his request, and he spent time here. We tried to communicate some of the funding challenges for early child education. There's actually 84 different funding streams for below kindergarten, so it's very difficult to navigate that system and do quality work. That's why some of these places like this don't exist. It's very difficult to maneuver that system, and I think, Lisa and Holly will probably mention that, the 90% of brain growth occurs before age 5, and yet there's no mandate for any child to go to preschool. You don't have to. In this county, before we started this project, 49% of all 3 and 4-year-olds attended no preschool at all. So they're heading into kindergarten with no preparation at all for what they had to encounter.
I think we need to look in our society and have a real conversation about how and what we fund. Early childhood is one of the only human services that we provide that has to be parent funded. If we are a preventative society, we actually need to be preventative. We have to take the measures to prevent. Early childhood has longitudinal studies that shows high quality early childhood is the true preventative measure. It lowers special education, it lowers juvenile justice, it lowers teen pregnancy rates, it increases chance of high school graduation and attending college.
It's truly a dream when someone tells you that you can come in and start building a center from the bottom up and do all those things that are developmentally appropriate for children and not have any barriers, and kind of be able to finally take what you've learned and put it into practice. There's not a lot of words that can describe that. So we know in our community there's 3 large barriers. We call them the big 3. One is housing, one is childcare, and transportation. And so with this center, we actually are kind of eliminating 2 of them. One is obviously childcare. So within Manistee County at the time of our opening, there wasn't a childcare that was open past 6 p.m. We know within our community that there is a lot of shift work. There are places that are open 24 hours a day. And so we were able to eliminate some of those barriers for families. We also do something that's called flex scheduling. So every week, parents turn in their schedule, and then we accommodate their care based on what their weekly schedule is, because some days they have Monday, Tuesday off. The next week they might have Monday, Friday off, and we're able to accommodate those changes in their schedule, and they don't pay for a half-day, full-day slot. They pay for the care that's needed. The second piece with the transportation is that we bring services and people to the center. So, for example, our DHHS office is located all the way across town. A family that has a transportation barrier isn't able to access them as easily as someone that lives in town. So instead, we bring a worker to our center. So we've been focused on family first, and those are just a couple of the barriers that we were able to hopefully eliminate for families. I know since we've been open, we've had 4 families that have taken on full-time positions with salaries because we've been able to offer them quality care for their children.
Our concept working together was that we wanted to make sure that we did the best we could to pay our teachers as much as we could. Our plan for this center in every way was to have the best of the best and not to go on the cheap in any way here. Holly, our administrator, has a master's degree. All of our lead teachers have bachelor's degrees, and all of our teachers' aides either have an associate's degree or a certification. So, everyone here has a degree of some sort or certification to be here.
We're very fortunate in this situation in our program. We sought quite aggressively a lead teacher that has a bachelor's of fine arts and a bachelor's of early childhood.
We wanted to make sure we had the best of the best. We wanted to reward them. So this center provides 15 full-time jobs, including full benefits, family benefits, at no charge to the employee at all. And that's something most child care professionals don't get. They may get a decent wage or not, but they usually don't get benefits. And here they get full medical and dental benefits, no charge to them.
So it was one of our priorities for the center was to make sure that we had the best of the best in quality of teachers, and that was something that Jason and Lisa kind of worked on in the beginning for budgeting purposes. In terms of for families, we actually rates are average for this county. So we are Little River Band of Ottawa Indian government employees, and with that we get full family benefits. In early childhood education, that is something that is unheard of. And so our benefits are covered by the government center, by the tribe, and we just have our co-pays. So that in itself is a game changer. It's amazing to have full family benefits and be within this field. The other piece is that we offer competitive salaries. Our main goal is once we get someone in our building, we want them to stay here. The children depend on their teachers so much, and they depend on having them here, that when you have a teacher that kind of uses this as a starting point and then moves on to, say, an elementary teaching position with full benefits and salary packages, it's hard for children to then have that person move on because they're used to having them within their setting. So by offering the competitive wages that we do, the full family benefits, we're hoping to really have a solid foundation of teachers that stay for many, many years. So my message to families would be that we want them to know that this is a family first facility. We want them to know that we value their beliefs and their traditions and the way they're raising their children. And we also want this to be a teaching facility. So we want them to get to know our practices and love our philosophy. We're nature-based. We like to use a lot of the more natural approaches to raising children. Well, our philosophy is so different than what you may be used to or what you've seen, but at the same time, we are trying to instill in children how to have these skills that they can then take with them for their lifetime. So I think a lot of our focus here in the center is social emotional building, and sometimes that can be missed within a family or even a public school. And so with that being our focus, we're giving them tools for self-regulation, to learn how to manage their feelings, to learn what their needs are. And so when we give those powerful tools to children, they're able to carry that on with them, and then they're just going to be more successful as their life continues to go forward. So I think as a family, when you see those types of skills being kind of focused on and built within your children, it's, you get that good feeling of a whole child approach versus always trying to get them ready for the next step. We're kind of focused on where they are right now at this moment. And so we also look at the children within our center as we're kind of one big family. And so I think that's also something that a lot of our families they take a lot of pride in that, and we take a lot of pride in our center too. So, and culturally too, we're exposing children to all the different cultures within our community. It's not a whole world approach, but more of a community approach, and building that sense of community within the children and something they can be proud of too.
I think it's important for everyone to recognize the importance of funding early childhood education. There's a statistic out there, and I may or may not get the number right. For every dollar spent in early childhood education, you save between $16 and $17. Those are, in mental health, in child mental health. Those are juvenile facilities, prisons, jails. A lot of those issues, early teen pregnancy. If you add that up, that dollar is better invested with early childhood education. You get the payoff than wait to build a facility to house people that didn't, the money's, it doesn't make sense. If you don't have the dollar, you certainly don't have the 16. So you might as well spend that dollar with early childhood education. Well, one of our goals for this, the original goal, getting back to the beginning, was to ease one of those challenges for our families, becoming self-sufficient. So we're hoping to see an impact on my other areas of my department, such as child welfare, self-sufficiency. We're hoping to encourage parents to continue with work, get full-time work, stay at work, reduce child abuse and neglect. That's one of the goals we got. We're all one community here. We all recognize that we rely on the entire community as a whole. We wanted to do this for everyone. And, it's the future of this community, is the children.
Early childhood is natural anti-bias. We want the children to be reprided in what our uniqueness is to our county. Those first 5 years set the foundation for the rest of your life.
My message to the community would be one of collaboration. This is truly a community building. Without having the community behind us, we wouldn't be able to make things happen like we have been doing. So we're hoping that, the community values this just as much as we do.